Today I'm gonna show you how to make 808s from scratch. Now, first of all, if you want some great 808s, I released an 808 pack for 808 Day 2024, and it's got all types of 808s in there, but also midis, midi rolls, and I added some cool branding in there as well. When you open the pack, it just looks awesome. I created that myself in Photoshop, these 808 themed logos of what there's actually essentially in there. So I usually start off with this preset I made myself called 808 design. As you can see, it's got these settings that you can copy, and you can also experiment with other knobs in here. I do that sometimes, but basically these are the basic settings. So this pitch envelope is gonna make sure that your 808 starts at a higher pitch, because that's typical of an 808 sound. That boom sound. You can experiment with adding a filter to it or not. Don't be afraid to experiment, please. When you have all that, please go to your MIDI and click a C note in. Doesn't really matter which C note, then you get this sound. Boom. Now put it to an 808 pitch. Then I'll go over to my Magma, which is basically a drive plugin, which is gonna make it a lot trashier. I have the sensitivity to high because I like that setting. I wanted to make an aggressive 808 with this one. Then I have this Kramer HLS stereo plugin, which my project didn't find because I probably made it on a different computer. There's a preset probably for bass or something. Yeah, kick drum EQ. Something like that, that compresses it a little bit. And a saturator. Now we're getting there. Now we're getting like a decap 808. Then I have overdrive. Then an EQ, very special one. It's like a downward shape, the EQ, and I think that's the key to making a great 808. When your low frequencies are intense, but it kind of dies off to your high frequency, so that your 808 doesn't take up the whole spectrum. And on top of that, I have a really weird plugin for this type of process, because you're working with low end. I tried putting an exciter on there for once, and I actually liked how it sounded. This kind of contradicts what I just said, because this adds more high end. You're gonna see it when I put it before the EQ. Add some high end, but it excites it just a little bit. It's a subtle touch. Duplicate it by Control D, then freeze and flatten your track. And now you can experiment with these sliders right here. If you want an 808 with no attack, you can pick this first slider. Then it slides into the 808 a little bit more. But you can also experiment with the out knob. Now, I agree if people say like this 808 is not for me. I got a different option for you. That's to get a instrument that already sounds like a bass or an 808 just a little bit, just resembles it a little bit. Boost the lows by an immense amount and duck the highs. By the way, ducking your highs will also boost your low end if you think about it, so keep that in mind. Then I'll do the same process, so get a Magma or an Isotope Trash on there. For instance, this is something I could work with. When you duck those highs again, you will get a pretty nice 808. Okay, not that nice of an 808, you just move on, you keep making stuff, that's how you progress. Okay, for instance, this is a little bit of cheating, but you grab a sub 808 plugin from Ableton or whatever your DAW is, you manipulate the settings a little bit, render it out with some effects on it. Boom. That's a cool 808. That's an 808 you can use in almost every beat. Or for instance, here I have this plugin that's already an overdriven 808, but I put something on there called Vintage Tape Channel. It's like a preset of multiple effects. I won't go over them right now, but if you add that to an EQ and even maybe gain the scale a little bit, you get a pretty nasty 808. Effects I love to put on my 808s are erosion, which in this case is a hiss preset, an amp, saturator, all kinds of trashy plugins. For sound design, usually plugins that have distortion in them, saturation in them, overdrive algorithms, all that kind of stuff is gonna help you make really nasty 808s. Another method, which I don't use as much, is creating an 808 and then grab a punch from a kick and put that together into one group. For instance, one time I had this Spins 808, which is the most overused 808 in history, but I layered it with the sound of my lamp. and I created like a new 808 with that. That's perfect. And as long as you create something that's better than the original, in my opinion, you're not recycling sounds. If you made it better, if you EQ'd it better, if you saturated it more, you made it different. What you want to avoid is bragging about how you made a sound from scratch, but it actually being a really bad, unusable sound. So don't be afraid to steal original, recycled sounds and make them a little bit of your own by adding something in there, or even taking something away from the original sound. I hope all these tips can help you make new 808s. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope I can catch you on the next one.